Hey guys, it's No Help and welcome back to another video today. So today's video is going to be talking about why RuneScape is still played 20 years later. Anyways, if you guys like the video, make sure to smash the like button. The support has been amazing lately and I thank you guys for that. On with the video. RuneScape has been a game that has been around for so long. Its release date was January 4th, 2001. And when you compare it to something like Google was in 1998, so like right when the internet was really taking off is, when RuneScape became a thing. So it's pretty much been there since the start basically of the internet and pretty much the gaming part of the internet. You know what I mean? When games were becoming a thing, RuneScape was like right just after the whole big internet. And this obviously caused it to gain a lot of traction at the start because it was a brand new kind of thing that people weren't really used to as much at the time. And but why is it still 20 years later when there are 4K games, there are VR games and stuff like that out? Why is it still relevant and so popular and still loved so much to this day? First of all, I'm going to talk about the two different versions of the game. Now there is the original game, which is RuneScape 3, and then there is this one, which is old school RuneScape. Now RuneScape 3 is kind of a different story. Basically, this game is updated every week. Pretty much every week there is an in-game update, and they decided to 1 week release the evolution of combat on the main RuneScape, and then add a lot of microtransactions, and this kind of made a lot of players end up quitting. And that happens to the best of every business, pretty much. I was just thinking about this. Every game that you play these days has microtransactions in it. But when you have a game for so long where there are no microtransactions and you have to pretty much do everything yourself, and even the founders of the company basically said that they would never allow microtransactions, and then when they ended up selling their shares in the company, they ended up adding microtransactions into the game, so they ended up leaving because they didn't want to be like a liar, you know what I mean? And I totally get that. It totally makes sense. And when Andrew left the company, you slowly started to see updates that didn't really make sense, or bad updates that came into the game. And it was really good, still playable, and then they released the evolution of combat and completely ruined the game. So if you really want to think about it, old school RuneScape started in 2012. I'm just kidding. It was February of 2013 that old school RuneScape was released. So if you really think about it this way, this game's only been out for 9 years. The actual game RuneScape has been out for 20 years. Now, why do people play old school RuneScape? Like I was just talking about, there are so many better graphical games out there, like VR games, 4K games. But we choose to play this point-and-click adventure game. There's a lot of reasons for that that I've talked about tons of these reasons before on my channel, but today I'm just going to be going over why this game is still loved and so relevant. The number one reason why it is so loved and still so relevant is for nostalgic reasons. A lot of people, including myself, play this because it's so nostalgic to them. They know the game like the back of their hand, and they can't really see themselves playing any other type of game. And that's very true for me. I only actually play a couple of other games than RuneScape, so I totally get that from the nostalgic point, and just the you're comfortable playing this game, you know everything about it, and you love it so much, and it's just so nostalgic for you. So that is why you still play it today, or you just can't get over it. You can't get over playing it. Ooh, a hard clue scroll. You can't get over playing it. So that is probably the number one reason why all the veteran players still play this game. The second reason is because of YouTube and social media and stuff like that. The game gets so much more publicity than it did at the very start. Of course, with YouTube probably being the number one, Reddit, Twitter even. This game gets so much free publicity, and like if you had like a friend back in the day maybe that played RuneScape and you kind of always like made fun of them for playing it, then you see an ad for this old school RuneScape, you might go check it out, or your friend is always playing this game and never has time to play games with you, and then you ask what game he plays, it's RuneScape, then you might go check it out. I've gotten a couple people in real life to actually go ahead and try it, They didn't stay too long, but they ended up trying it anyways, and that can be a reason that a lot of people are, joining in on it now. And Twitch especially too has a lot of promotions with RuneScape, and they can give you the Twitch Prime, and with all the seasonal game modes, it's very successful for the game, like leagues, like Deadman mode, Group Ironman, all these, I guess Group Ironman's not really seasonal, but all these seasonal game modes definitely help to bring the player bases up by a lot. And also Jagex, when these seasonal game modes came out, they paid top streamers to actually stream them, which could have got thousands and thousands of more players onto the game, because pretty much this game back in the day was so big that everyone knew it, and then we all, grew up. So all the people that used to play it back then will come back, even if they weren't like super nostalgic about it. They're like, oh yeah, I played that game as a kid. The difficult part is getting brand new players. I've made a video about this in the past, but pretty much people are so lazy these days and they don't want to actually grind for anything on a game. They just want that instant dopamine rush. And RuneScape does not offer that, it offers long-term investing your time, and then eventually in the end it will pay off, you know what I mean? If you want to do the high-level bossing or get really good at PKing, it'll take you hundreds of hours to actually get to that point, unlike other games where you can beat in 10 to 15 hours, you know what I mean? So it definitely has a lot more of a learning curve to it, and it's really hard to get people this day and age to actually want to play a game like that. And even recently, I've been getting back into some of the older games that I've been playing, and I'm going to be making a video about that soon, just some other games that I play. And, it's hard to get off of those games. You play them for a couple of hours, then you log back into RuneScape, and then you're like, oh, I'm just sitting here AFK. I'm going to go play that other game. It's really weird. You get hooked into other games so easily. Our brain just gets confused. We don't want to gain XP this day. We'd rather, have that quick instant dopamine for, shooter type game. And yeah, it's really hard to get brand new people into this game. I think they're doing a great job with that, with things like raids and the seasonal game modes even, because, if you're not super into RuneScape or super into the long grinds, you could play something like the leagues when it has like 10 times XP and stuff. And, you might like the leagues so much that you actually, go ahead and play the real game afterwards, because you might have some knowledge by then and you actually want to make like a full-on real account. But the reason this game is still relevant and still loved 20 years later is because it is the perfect game for a lot of people to play. There's countless things, like I've talked about in the past, that you can do on this game, like questing, bossing, skilling. You can build communities, you can do PvP, you can do mini games. There's just countless activities, and you realistically will always have something to do. I've been playing 20 years, or not 20 years, I've been playing like 10, 15, 10 years, something like that. Yeah, 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years, and I still have something to do every single day. I've maxed 2 accounts. I'm working on this old school RuneScape account to be maxed, and there's still so much for me to learn. Every single day that I play this game, I learn something new, whether that be a new clue step or a new method comes out and I learn that, or do a new quest, or, figure out this item is, good, stuff like that. You learn something new every single day on this game. And like I said, the community and the company is just really good overall. The Jagex, the old school team, is absolutely amazing, giving us the availability to, vote on our own updates that come into the game. Like, what other game does that? It's actually genius. And I'm really grateful to have the old school team working on RuneScape. They're making this game perfect, exactly how the community wants it. And overall, I thank them so much for doing that. But yeah, that is why this game is still loved and still relevant 20 years later. Let me guys know down in the comments below why you still play RuneScape, why you still play either RS3 or old school RuneScape, and also let me know how you got into the game. I'm very curious about that. I actually made a video not recently, a while ago, about how I got into old school RuneScape, but I would be down to make another video about that if you guys want that. Anyways, thank you guys for all of the support as always, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya later.